You remember summers that lasted forever. You were 8 years old, and June arrived, and suddenly time expanded into something enormous. 3 months stretched out in front of you like a continent. You could feel each day individually, each morning was its own distinct thing. Each afternoon had weight. You went to bed on a Tuesday, and Thursday felt like it was weeks away. You are not 8 anymore. Now an entire month disappears before you registered it started. You turn around and it is somehow December again. You think about something that happened recently and discover it was 4 years ago. You mention a song that just came out and someone tells you it came out 11 years ago, and for a moment you genuinely do not believe them. People you knew as children are turning 40. Things you remember buying new are now vintage. The year you were born is as far in the past as your grandparents were when you were a child. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet alarm has been going off for years. The clock is speeding up, and you have absolutely no idea how to make it stop. Here is what is actually happening. Your brain does not measure time the way a clock does. A clock measures time in equal intervals. 1 second is always 1 second. 1 minute is always 1 minute. Your brain measures time in something completely different. It measures time in new information, in novel experiences, in moments it has never encountered before and therefore has to actively process, encode, and store. When you are 8 years old, everything is new. Every experience your brain encounters requires full processing power. The first time you ride a bike, your brain is working at maximum intensity, encoding the sensation of balance, the feeling of the handlebars, the specific quality of the fear before you let go of the wall. Every summer afternoon you experienced as a child was being recorded in high definition. Your brain was fully present for each moment because each moment demanded its attention. This is why childhood summers felt infinite. Not because they were longer, because they were denser. Your brain was recording more information per hour than it would ever record again. Now you are an adult. You take the same route to work every morning. You eat from the same rotation of meals. You talk to the same people about the same things. You watch the same streaming service from the same seat on the same sofa. Your brain has seen all of this before, and a brain that has seen something before does not need to encode it in high definition. It compresses, it abbreviates, it files the routine under already processed and moves on. Neuroscientist David Eagleman at Stanford University has studied the neural mechanisms of time perception for decades. His research reveals something that should fundamentally change the way you think about your own life. Your brain does not record time, it records novelty. When you are experiencing something new, your brain creates rich, detailed memories that feel long when you look back on them. When you are experiencing something familiar, your brain creates thin, compressed memories that feel short when you look back on them. A week of doing the same things feels like a day when you remember it. A week of doing entirely new things feels like a month. This is the mechanism. This is why time accelerates as you age, not because you are older, because you are less surprised. But here is where it gets darker. Neuroscientist Claudia Hammond, who wrote Time Warped, discovered something that makes this even more unsettling. The compression does not just affect how you remember the past, it affects how you experience the present. When your brain decides that a situation is familiar enough not to warrant full processing, it reduces the resolution of your conscious experience in real time. You are not just remembering that Monday in low definition. You lived that Monday in low definition. The routine did not just erase the memory. It erased the experience itself. You were technically present. Your body was there. Your eyes were open. You were technically conscious and functioning. But your brain had filed the situation under already known and allocated the minimum processing resources necessary to get through it. You were not really there. Not fully. Not the way you were there when you were 8 years old on the first day of summer. This is the real cost of routine. Not boredom, not monotony, the actual reduction of experienced life. And here is the counterintuitive truth that changes everything. You cannot stop time from passing, but you can change the density of the time you have left. Every genuinely new experience you give your brain forces it back into high-definition recording mode. Every time you take a different route, try something you have never tried. Go somewhere you have never been. Meet someone genuinely different from the people you already know. Your brain has to work. It has to process. It has to encode in full resolution. And those moments, when you look back on them, will feel longer than they were. Not because they lasted longer, because your brain was actually there for them. Psychologist William James, writing in 1890, put it in a single sentence that has never been improved upon in over a century. He wrote that in youth we may have an absolutely new experience. Novelty is growth, but in later life, each passing year converts more of the substance of our life into its form, until finally we are like old mirrors reflecting familiar scenes automatically without any real presence at all. The speed of time is not inevitable. It is a function of how much novelty you allow into your life. The summers of your childhood were not longer, they were fuller. And the only thing standing between you and that fullness right now is the part of your brain that has decided it has already seen enough of the world to stop paying attention. It has not. You have not. There is still time to be surprised.